Hi, I'm Tanya, and this is the Midnight Creak. We're journeying to a place that looks like something out of a fairy tale, but holds secrets darker than its ancient stone walls. We're talking about Warwick Castle, one of England's most iconic, and let's be honest, absolutely terrifying medieval strongholds. If you like our content, please subscribe.
You know, Tania, when you picture a classic English castle, Warwick is probably what comes to mind for a lot of people. Grand, imposing, steeped in history. But what most people don't realize, or maybe they just try to ignore during the daytime tours, is that it's also incredibly, undeniably haunted. I mean, 1100 years of history, battles, imprisonment, murder, political intrigue. It's a recipe for some serious supernatural activity.
Oh, terrifying reputation barely covers it. I've read so many accounts of people experiencing everything from cold spots to full-blown apparitions there. And the stories aren't just modern. They stretch back centuries. It's not just a place with ghosts, it feels like the castle itself is a living, breathing entity that remembers every tragedy.
Absolutely. It's got layers of history, and with those layers come layers of the paranormal. But let's kick things off with arguably the most famous spirit haunting Warwick Castle, the one that really solidified its spooky status. Sir Fulke Greville.
Ah, Sir Fulke Greville, a poet, a politician, and a former owner of the castle back in the 1600s. His story is particularly tragic, and definitely the kind of tale that breeds a restless spirit.
Indeed, Greville met a brutal end. He was attacked by his own servant Ralph Heywood in 1628. The motive? Heywood discovered he'd been completely cut out of Greville's will. Enraged, the servant stabbed Greville before turning the knife on himself. Greville, poor man, didn't die instantly. He suffered for days before succumbing to his wounds. Can you imagine the agony, both physical and emotional, in those final moments?
That's just horrific. And it's that kind of intense trauma, that sudden violent betrayal, that so often leaves an imprint, isn't it? It makes perfect sense that his spirit would be tied to the place where it happened.
And his spirit is believed to haunt the castle's Watergate Tower, which, fittingly, is now often referred to as the Ghost Tower. And the reports from there are chilling, truly chilling.
What have people experienced in the ghost tower, Andrew? I've heard some pretty wild stories.
Oh, Tania, it's a whole list. Visitors and staff have reported hearing groans and cries echoing through empty corridors. Imagine being alone in that tower, hearing that. Then there are sudden, inexplicable cold spots, which often accompany a ghostly presence. People also claim to hear the sound of arguments when absolutely nobody is there. You just hear these heated voices, but there's no one around. The argument that led to his death, perhaps, replaying itself?
That's residual energy, some might say, an echo of the past, but it's the more visual sightings that really make you pause. There are accounts of a dark figure appearing near the tower, and then there's the truly bizarre connection to Greville's portrait.
Oh, the portrait. That's where it gets really unsettling. Stories claim his ghost actually steps out of the painting itself. Can you imagine seeing that? I'd be absolutely terrified. It's like the boundary between worlds just dissolves.
I can only imagine. I mean, it's one thing to hear a noise, but to see a figure emerge from a painting, that's next level. It's no wonder that some staff members reportedly refuse to enter certain rooms alone after dark. That speaks volumes, doesn't it?
It certainly does. When the people who work there every day, who know the castle inside and out, are genuinely unnerved, you know there's something to it. They're not just playing along for the tourists.
And speaking of other entities, Warwick Castle also has another very famous and very elusive spirit, the mysterious Grey Lady.
Ah, the Grey Lady. She's a classic castle ghost, isn't she? Always silently wandering, always a bit of a mystery.
Exactly. She's usually described as an elderly woman, dressed in grey clothing, just silently gliding through the castle corridors. Cleaners and maintenance workers, the people who are often in the castle when it's quietest, have allegedly seen her moving through hallways, only for her to vanish into walls or locked rooms right before their eyes.
Vanishing into walls, that's such a classic ghostly move, but it still sends shivers down my spine. Does anyone know who she might be?
Her identity is a bit more nebulous than Greville's. She's been linked to centuries-old stories connected to the Greville family, so perhaps a servant or a noblewoman from their lineage, but her exact story remains elusive, which only adds to her mystique, I think.
Witnesses often describe a very distinct set of experiences when she's nearby. A feeling of being watched, for starters. Then, those sudden, dramatic drops in temperature again. But what gets me is the soft footsteps in empty corridors. It's not a loud, clanking sound. It's subtle, almost mournful. And of course, the shadowy female figure gliding silently past doorways. It's not an aggressive presence, but it's undeniably chilling.
From silent ladies to something far more menacing, let's talk about one of Warwick Castle's creepiest legends, the Black Dog Curse. This isn't just a sighting, it's a full-blown legend with a terrifying creature at its heart.
The Black Dog Curse. Oh, I love a good cursed legend. What's the story behind this one?
Okay, so according to legend, there was a servant named Mole Bloxam. She was publicly punished after being accused of theft, and as you can imagine, she wasn't too pleased about this. Before her death, she supposedly placed a curse on the castle, and soon afterward, a terrifying black dog, described as huge with glowing red eyes, began appearing around the grounds.
A spectral hound, a harbinger of doom. These legends are common in British folklore, but they take on a whole new level of dread when tied to a specific, historical place like Warwick Castle.
Exactly. This creature is said to roam the castle at night, appearing suddenly before vanishing into thin air. It terrifies guards and servants. Just imagine being on watch, alone in the dark, and this massive beast with glowing red eyes materializes in front of you. And the worst part, it's believed to bring bad luck or even death when seen. You definitely don't want to cross paths with this one.
Oh, that's just nightmare fuel. A curse from a wronged servant manifesting as a demonic dog? That's intense. Did they ever get rid of it?
Well, stories claim the beast was eventually lured from one of the towers into the river below, supposedly ending the curse. But of course, because it's a good ghost story, some say the creature still appears occasionally. Just a little reminder that curses aren't always so easily undone.
Just when you thought it was safe to go back into the castle grounds. From terrifying dogs to phantom cows, Warwick folklore has it all. Let's not forget the ghostly phantom dun cow.
The dun cow, another fascinating layer of folklore. This spectral animal is believed to appear in the courtyard before a death in the Greville family. It's tied to the ancient legend of the monstrous dun cow, supposedly killed by the legendary hero Guy of Warwick centuries ago.
So, it's a death omen? That's incredibly specific and adds such a dark, almost mythical layer to the castle's already eerie history. Imagine seeing a ghostly cow in the courtyard and knowing what it signifies.
And speaking of Guy of Warwick, the legendary medieval warrior himself is also said to haunt the castle. It's like the castle wants to keep all its most famous figures, living or dead.
Yeah, Guy's presence is deeply woven into Warwick Castle folklore. Stories describe sightings of a tall, armored figure, heavy footsteps echoing through towers, shadowy shapes near what's now called Guy's Tower, and strange noises coming from empty staircases. He's not just a legend, he's part of the castle's resident haunting.
It makes sense. Warriors who die defending or owning such significant places often become part of their fabric. Their spirits are intrinsically linked to the stone and soil they fought for.
And if you want a truly visceral, terrifying experience, you have to talk about Warwick Castle's underground areas, the dungeons and the infamous oubliette.
Oh, the oubliette, the forgetting place. That name alone is enough to send shivers down your spine. The castle dungeon, including this infamous hole, was used to imprison captives for centuries. Legends say prisoners were simply thrown inside and left to die in darkness, completely forgotten by the outside world.
That's a fate worse than death, isn't it? To be intentionally forgotten, to simply waste away in the dark. The psychological torment alone would be enough to leave a lasting spiritual impression. I can only imagine the despair.
And visitors today certainly feel that despair. People have reported feeling physically sick when they go underground, hearing whispers, and even feeling touched by unseen hands. Sudden panic or dread can overcome you, and there have been reports of growling noises and strange flashes of light.
Growling noises. That's not just a sad, lingering spirit. That sounds like something malevolent. It's almost too much.
While some historians debate the exact use of the oubliette, whether it was purely for abandonment or had other purposes, there's no denying the atmosphere down there. It still unsettles many visitors today, regardless of the historical specifics. The energy is palpable.
And the castle's connection to the paranormal isn't just accidental or ancient. During the Victorian era, the Greville family, who owned the castle, reportedly became absolutely fascinated with spiritualism and seances. They were actively trying to communicate with the other side.
That's so interesting. A real historical obsession with ghosts within the very walls we're talking about. What did they find, or what did they claim to find?
Well, archived records describe these attempts to communicate with spirits inside the castle. There are strange writings and seance transcripts that mention ghostly servants, hidden secrets, unexplained noises, and spirits just wandering the castle halls. They were cataloging their own hauntings in a way.
And they even named a spirit. An alleged spirit named Edward Jameson was blamed for mysterious sounds throughout the building. So it wasn't just vague feelings, they had a specific entity they believed was making its presence known. This historical obsession only solidified Warwick Castle's haunted reputation, adding a layer of authenticity to the stories.
It's a perfect example of how belief and experience feed into each other. If the owners are actively seeking contact and then unexplained things happen, it's easy to see how the legends grow and solidify.
And it's not just historical accounts. Modern visitors and paranormal enthusiasts continue to describe strange activity at Warwick Castle. It's not just a story from the past, it's an ongoing phenomenon.
That's right. The list of modern experiences is extensive. People report seeing full apparitions in tower windows, those sudden cold spots again, clear shadow figures, whispers in empty rooms, doors opening on their own, unexplained lights, and of course, those pervasive feelings of dread or being watched. It's like the castle actively welcomes and showcases its ghostly residents.
It's interesting how the castle itself embraces this reputation. They've hosted ghost-themed attractions and events over the years. It's almost like they're saying, yes, we know we're haunted and we're not afraid to share it.
And why wouldn't they? It's a huge draw. People are fascinated by the unknown, by places that blur the lines between history and legend. Warwick Castle offers that in spades.
It absolutely does, from violent deaths to silent wanderers, from cursed hounds to forgotten prisoners. Warwick Castle truly holds centuries of chilling tales within its ancient walls. It's a place where history isn't just read in books, it's felt, heard, and sometimes even seen.
You can restore stone walls, polish ancient armor, and fill the halls with tourists by day, but some believe Warwick Castle still remembers its darker past. And when night falls over the towers and the footsteps echo through empty corridors, perhaps not everyone who walks those halls is still alive. Until next time, stay curious and stay afraid.